This is City Soccer on the New York City FC Network. After 2 weeks off, NYCFC is back in action tonight in front of the home fans at Yankee Stadium as they do battle with Atlanta United. It's time for NYCFC Pregame Live. Live from the Bronx, here are Glenn Crooks and Matty Lawrence.
And there it is, Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. I'm Glenn Crooks. Matty Lawrence is here, and indeed, it's New York City, 10th in the Eastern Conference. That's a notch below the playoff line. And Atlanta United, 13th in the Eastern Conference. Both teams under first-year head coaches, Pascal Janssen for New York City, and then the former New York City coach, Ronny Deila, but just 4 wins in their first 17 matches of the season. It's a standalone game in MLS. Thursday night football. How about that, Matty Lawrence? What's happening? How you doing? What's going on?
I'm doing very well. The weather's absolutely gorgeous out there.
Yes, it is.
Hopefully there'll be a lot of walk-up supporters. It's quite humid. It's probably a little bit too warm, a little bit too sticky for players, truly.
In the booth here, we have a little
yeah.
AC. We have an open window, but there's AC behind us.
If only the players could play from here.
We took a stroll down there and got on the field, and it was like, whew, it hit you sort of like a sauna. So it could be a factor tonight, especially since we haven't really had to endure those conditions here in 2025. When we were downstairs, we also ran into the president and CEO of New York City, Brad Sims, who exclaimed a very big smile and positive outlook on how things are being sold for the new stadium at Etihad Park, set to open in 2027. I was just about to ask him when he thought the stadium would open because it had been ahead of schedule, but then Garth Lagerway, the Atlanta United
stole your
GM,
thunder,
he
didn't he?
came in, they had hugs, and that was it. Then we had to show the Atlanta radio crew, how to get up here, and that was that. So we didn't quite get to where. So next time I run into Brad, I'll ask him that.
He was certainly very joyous about sales, which is wonderful to hear.
He used the word unprecedented.
Yes,
so I'm not sure what that's in reference to. All sports or just
whether it's just unprecited for NYCFC, but it is the first time they've opened. So it is technically unprecedented.
It's
technically the first new stadium. But yes, no, I'm joking. He certainly seemed very, very happy with sales and said that phases had been moved forward a couple of months because they'd sold out the previous phase or got very close to. So yes, things are looking up. That is for certain. But back to now, Glenn. Back to Yankee Stadium.
Well, and back to the return of Ronny Deila. Coming back to the 5 boroughs for the first time since departing as head coach of New York City midway through the 2022 season when he accepted the standard Liège position, but. He's a beloved figure here among the supporters.
And rightly so.
Right. But, for a couple of reasons. Number one, he shows up for the old firm at Jack Murphy's downtown and has pints with supporters at 8 a.m. to watch Celtic Rangers. That's part of it. But probably more extensively part of it is an MLS Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, he was part of this team. Well, yes, of course, that's very, very important. But the team, for me, the team were at its best. In my time here, I know I haven't been here as long as you, Glenn, but this is my 9th season.
I still say the best playing team was 2019 under Dome Torrent. And they did win the Eastern Conference regular season.
Yeah, 19 and 21 are close.
Most wins in the regular year in club history. But they played well, too. But go ahead.
Look,
you're right.
You've won the whole thing, and that's what that's what Ronny Deila was brought in to do. I know it doesn't always work out, as Ange Postecoglou will tell you. Just because you win trophies, you can still get fired. But look, things did work out very well for Ronny Deila. But on the flip side, things haven't been working out too well for him at Atlanta United, and specifically, Glenn, away from home as well.
Well, no wins, 5 losses, 2 draws. So he hasn't been able to muster up, nor has his players or the rest of his coaching team muster up a road win. I thought I would make one point, though, because when I say he's a beloved figure, there certainly were some supporters, as they always will be, who were a bit disgruntled that he would leave midstream in 2022. Well, credit to Hudson River Blue and their podcast. They got a hold of Ronny Deila before this game and had a wonderful interview with him. But it also included the question, why did you leave? And there were several things that he said, but one was, and this is a quote, he was tired of the process. It just took too long. And that is as far as negotiating and maybe getting rehired. And then he said they, meaning New York City, didn't want enough. So it's unclear exactly what he meant by that. But is he referring to their ambition? And then he said, I'm a stubborn person. That's part of it. And then he also said, look, mission accomplished, meaning MLS Cup.
Yes.
Grateful, very happy with what I experienced at New York City. And he had a desire to get back to Europe and test the waters there. But now he's back to MLS.
Yeah, I think a big part of it is the draw, the lure of Europe. And obviously he's European, and getting back there, I think we know that he's got family back there. His daughters are back there. I think the twin daughters are back there in Scandinavia. So it fitted into place. And also, he will be similar to me, I guess, kind of a European snob, and thinks that and I say that kind of tongue-in-cheek, but he wanted to get back into Europa League football, into Champions League football, whether it was Standard Liège, Club Brugge, Celtic previous to that. So it's understandable. I think he maybe, and look, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but alluding to mission was accomplished in 2021, and then a lot of that team was sold on and not truly replaced, and not always sold on, just left the club. And some people like Tati Castellanos, rightly so, Carlens as well, went on to bigger and better things for them anyway, in terms of their career trajectory. And they haven't been replaced. And ever since 2021, it's the record shows that the team hasn't been as good, and maybe that was part of the reason he wanted to leave as well. But for me, I think truly that it's the lure of a big football club. Not that NYCFC isn't one, but Standard Liège, Club Brugge after that, Celtic previous to him coming in, very, very big football clubs, and in Europe will be playing European football most years.
Garth Lagerwey, who we ran into on the way in, was able to convince Ronny, and he was in the UAE at the time, so I'm sure there was a monetary buyout there to bring him back into the MLS fray. Both Garth Lagerwey and Chris Henderson with a pretty substantial track record in terms of how they operate in Seattle, and then specifically for Henderson in Miami, and bringing that club to a level that has been impressive.
And the pot of money he had as well. I know that specifically the manner with which Atlanta United work, he's maybe not the person bringing the players in, but he knew there was a big pot, a big transfer chest, and boy, have they gone out and spent an awful lot of money. It hasn't come to fruition yet. It hasn't come together, that's for certain.
That's for sure.
But you cannot doubt their lack of ambition, certainly in terms of pure capitalism, pure spending. They brought big players back to the football club in terms of Almiron and likes of Latte Lat.
So take Latte Lat for a minute. MLS record, $22 million transfer.
It's a lot of money.
He scored 5 goals in the first 6 matches that they played. He hasn't scored since. The last goal he has scored, Matty, was that disastrous finishing goal against New York City at Mercedes-Benz when New York City was up 3-1 and then lost 4-3. He scored the game-winning goal, and that was on that rather blatant lack of communication between Thiago Martins, Matt Freese. There was a bit of a blow-up there, but a lot of frustration because you not only lost a chance to earn 3 points on the road, but you didn't even escape with a single point. Yeah,
and you went 1-0 up, then you went 3-1 up, and then you concede that winner was in the 84th minute.
Yeah.
So that's and the manner with which NYCFC conceded the goal as well.
Brad Freese, Brad Guzan, Matt Freese, Brad Guzan though with the assist.
Yes,
his distribution.
It's just too easy.
Got
just
over the
one
top.
lumped ball, and look, they want to put that behind.
Guzan has 2 assists in his career, both against New York City. I mean, goalkeeper assists are somewhat rare. So I'm glad he's Matty. Coming up a little bit later on is our live commentary, which begins at 7:15 with a pregame show on the New York City FC Network. Also tonight on MLS Season Pass. If you're watching the game on Apple TV, you can listen to the English hometown commentary. If you're driving somewhere, you can go to channel 157 on Sirius XM if you're a subscriber. We're also on that part of the broadcast as well. Well, Pascal Janssen in his first year, and we've really, I think, liked the way that we've seen him operate. But right now, going into the second half of the season, below the playoff consideration. And you talk about a blow. So let's go back to the Houston game, down 2-0 at the half. Pascal makes two moves at the interval. One is Strahinja Tanasiewicz for Tavon Gray, and Tanasiewicz, we hear, is getting the start tonight ahead of Gray again. And Keaton Parks comes into the match as well. Parks assists on both goals to make up the 2-0 deficit. It's 2-2. You get the point in Nashville, and you go into this extended break feeling good about yourselves thanks to Keaton Parks. But we're going to get to what Pascal had to say about Keaton this week, because remember that injury. Last week he said it's a mystery. Yeah. This week they've solved it, but that's not good news, apparently.
It's not, because Keaton Parks was a big part of that turnaround of fortunes, and you have to credit Pascal Janssen himself for making the switches early on, and then you have to credit Tanasiewicz and Keaton Parks. Tanasiewicz came on and added a bit of just steel and just a true will to win, just some physicality, something, and some drive and a little bit of leadership. He leads by example. He's certainly not the most technically gifted player, but that wasn't required then. Certainly not for him. He was all about coming in and providing some strength, stability at the back, and then giving the ball to Keaton Parks and letting him do the rest. That's for certain. But with this 12-day break, and they knew they had a 12-day break coming after that Nashville game, they're, been on the beach a bit, a couple of pedicures, I'm sure, during those 12 days off. But it was so very, very important for them not to lose that game. And the turnaround, we often say, when you concede a late equaliser, it feels like a loss. Equally, when you score a late equaliser, we'll come back from 2-0 down, it will feel like a win.
Nick Cushing should have patented it. It's a 3-point tie. That's what Nick coined it last year, and it certainly felt that way for New York City FC. So here's Pascal Janssen when I asked him about Keaton Parks this week, and here you'll hear extensively about the bad news. He is unavailable for the game against Atlanta. The foot injury. He is unavailable for the game against Atlanta. The foot injury is still nagging. To what extent can you tell us how that's going and what the immediate future is with Keaton?
Well, the immediate future is that we're very happy, if you will, to have more insight on what the problem is. So that's looking better than it was before. However, that means he won't be available for us for the coming weeks, because we have to solve this issue, and we've been working very hard with Keaton in order to solve it earlier than today, but it hasn't happened yet. But it looks to go in the right direction now, so we just have to wait, and hopefully after that and all the procedures have been done, he'll be available again.
So that was the news. So unavailable for the coming weeks. It's going to be an extended absence. And what's happening, whatever they've solved what it is. Now they're trying to treat it. And after 2 or 3 weeks, they're going to make another determination as to what the next step is. So that's, in essence, what's going on with Parks.
As a player, all you want to know is what is wrong with you, and how do I solve this situation? How do I rehab? When I was a little worried when it was only a week, 2 weeks ago, when Pascal was saying it's a mystery. And as a player, well, as a medical staff as well, the head coach, that's the last thing you want to hear. It's a mystery. We don't know what's wrong. And I think there wasn't even the illusion, but it was sometimes he would come in and be fine. And then the next day, for no reason, he'd come back into training and he would be in incredible amounts of pain, Glenn. So at least now there seems to be an end in sight, and they know what injury they are addressing. We don't specifically know what it is, but they do, the medical staff.
Well, it is that foot. It's the foot. It's the right foot, and it's the same leg where he dealt with the pair of blood clots back-to-back years where he had to have a surgery there. So you just wonder if there's any relation. But again, we aren't on the medical side.
No, exactly.
We don't have any of the inside track. But what we do know is that it's in a phase here where they're trying to treat it and hope that it responds to what they're doing.
Ultimately, this is good news. in the long term, because Keaton knows and the medical staff know how to address this issue.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely devastating news in the short term for Keaton Parks and for the team, because he is the man, for me, at the moment, the one man that makes this team tick in the centre of the park. Johnny Shaw's a little bit too young. He's still a little bit nervous, I feel, when he's out there. You see slight glimpses, Glenn. You know he's got that ability, but understandably, he's a young player very early on in his career. He's maybe not flourishing as well as he should, because he is. He's a little bit timid out there right now. I think in the coming games, coming seasons, we'll see what a truly good player he is.
Yeah.
Aidan O'Neill hasn't quite fitted in yet, so nothing much has been coming through him. And we know he's away with Australia as well. I think he's back now, but he won't be ready to play today. And then Maxi Morales, bless him. He gives his all every single game. But let's not forget, we talked about that 2021 team. He's now 4 years older than that team. He was a real integral part of that team. But at 38, I think it's very, very hard to expect somebody to be able to do it for nearly 90 minutes every game and then be dictating the pace, the tempo, creating chances. Look, he's been magnificent. He's been magnificent for me as a 38-year-old.
Yeah.
But he is 38 years of age. Those legs are getting older by the day. And look, I played professional football till I was that age, till I was 38. And I know how hard it becomes to recover. Out there on the match day, it's not so bad. But boy, the next 48 hours, you're creaking around. That is for certain.
Well, he's had 12 days since he came out at the 67-minute mark in the Nashville match on the road. But Maxi will be in the lineup. The 11 has just been announced, and there you see it. The one thing I want to point towards is Tomas Romero. And again, New York City playing host to Atlanta United. And Ronny Deila has returned to the five boroughs. Ronny Deila, by the way, 14-3-3 as a head coach of New York City here at Yankee Stadium, including the playoff victory over the team he now coaches in 2021 right here, 2-0, opening game of the playoffs. And then 3 games later, it's MLS Cup. But New York City overall, 4 wins, 3 losses, and there have been 8 ties in this series. And we mentioned the first game in the season series that Atlanta won 4-3 at Mercedes-Benz. Matt Freese was in goal for that one. It's Tomas Romero, and he's in for Matt Freese, Matty. And what I found interesting is that it was his decision to stay. El Salvador, he's got 18 caps for El Salvador. They were in World Cup qualifiers, and Tomas Romero, well, he's going to tell you the situation here, because I asked him at the presser this week just about this, because he made it sound like he told El Salvador that he would prefer to stay.
Yeah, I would say that they always want me. I mean, obviously they have to make the decision and stuff like that, but we have a good communication, have a good relationship with them. So it's always open. It's not like it's just like they send an email in and then they're telling me to come in. It's more like I have open dialogue with them all the time, and they kind of knew the situation. Or I had reached out and told them the situation with Matt leaving and stuff like that. And there's things up in the air, but we worked through it. And yeah, I want to play this game on the 12th, and they understand my position. Look, it is a tricky situation. I wish the best for them, and I hope I'm talking with all the players and stuff like that. I wish them all the best of luck. It's a massive game, so I'll be watching that, of course. But at the same time, I think I've spoken with the coaches there, and they know that I have a big opportunity to play as well, and it'll be my MLS debut with the club, which is super important to me. And they understand that as well. And I mean, I'm taking it very seriously, and they kind of understand my position on things right now. And but yeah, I wish them all the best. I mean, I'll be watching every game that they have.
Well, he watched El Salvador tie Suriname 1-1, and that got them to the third round of World Cup qualification. But Tomas Romero, one match in 2025, 1-0 loss to the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. His last MLS regular season game, he was with Toronto. It was September of 2023, and they lost to Inter Miami 4-0. And it's interesting that he sees this as a big opportunity, because I think he probably anticipates, as I think Pascal Janssen does, that Matt Freese is going to continue to grow in the mind of Mauricio Pochettino. I think there's an anticipation there that they're going to lose him for extended periods. So who's going to play? Tomas Romero wants to be the guy.
Yeah, and you have to. Club football, and excuse the cliche, club football is your bread and butter. You cannot play for an international team, really, unless you're performing for a club side. I know Romero has a little bit with El Salvador, but to really grow his game, he has to be playing first-team football, which is MLS, which is for NYCFC. And he knows what he knew Matt was going away for this camp. And he knows, as you said, that Matt is continuing to grow because Matt's still very young for a goalkeeper himself. I would anticipate right now, I think Matt Freese is in a better position than Matt Turner in terms because Freese is playing all the time. I'm not saying that Matt Freese is above Turner in the pecking order because I don't think he is, but he's in a better situation.
Potentially more impactful and effective because he's playing.
He's playing very good as a goalkeeper. It's so important.
Matt Turner did a couple of things the other night that might be because he hasn't been in the goal mouth very much.
If you're Leon and there's rumours of him going to Leon for sort of $8-9 million, you're watching that and thinking, well, there's absolutely no way in the world I'm paying that kind of money. I don't need to pay that kind of money. And Matt Turner has to be playing first-team football to play in the World Cup in 2026. In my opinion, he has to be playing first-team football. And Matt Freese already is. So, Matt Freese is getting up there. But we'll go back to Romero. I'm really looking forward to seeing Romero play. I don't know enough about him. I've seen him in training. But I've seen him in fits and starts. He played for a bit for LAFC.
He played 18 matches. He played more matches than any other keeper in 2021 for LAFC. One clean sheet. They failed to make the playoffs. It was a bit of a disastrous season for Bob Bradley, obviously, because he got the sack after that year when they didn't get into the postseason.
But that's very young as a goalkeeper. That's 4 years ago. He's only 24 now, so he'd have been 20 then. We always say that goalkeepers really don't start to flourish until their mid-20s, if not really into their 30s. So, But it's absolutely imperative, though, that he turned down El Salvador. And I don't think that's disrespectful to El Salvador. The people, the coaches, the head of the El Salvadorian FA would understand that he's got to be playing first-team football. And he's got to think about himself, Glenn, as well. Yeah. It's important for his own career. And his football career begins with club football. And here he is today. And I hope he has obviously I hope he has a good game. Not for NYCFC, but for himself and for his career, Glenn.
All right, we've got about 3 minutes, and I want to conclude with this U.S. men's national team saga that's going on with Christian Pulisic asking out of the Gold Cup, but he had a little bit more to say about that, and there's been a lot of response. It started with Landon Donovan, we know, and then Mark Pulisic, Christian's father, who is a coach, but shouldn't get involved, in my opinion. He makes a comment towards Landon. Tim Howard has gotten involved because he co-hosts a podcast with Landon. Clint Dempsey has said something about Landon because he took a sabbatical way back when for about 18 months. So Christian Pulisic got his say today on a podcast with Jimmy Conrad, Charlie Davies, and Tony Meola. And here was his response.
Obviously, it sucks for me to miss out with the team. I want to be a part of the team always. But to be honest, and towards the second half and towards the end of the season, my body just started talking to me and my mind, and then I started to think what is best and what is going to be best for me leading into next year and going into the World Cup. And was that to play 8 more games and then get no rest at all, go straight into preseason and then grind another year and go straight into the World Cup? That's not what I felt was best for my body. But the only point that I would make with that is that I did want to be a part of at least the 2 friendlies. I did speak with the coaches and I asked, and I wanted to be a part of the team in whatever capacity I could. And they said no. They said they only wanted 1 roster, and that's coach's decision. I fully respect that. I didn't understand it, but it is what it is. I wanted to be a part of that, but that's just the way things went, and I had to make the best decision for myself and also, in the long run for my team, even though clearly some people haven't seen it that way. No, I don't regret my decision. I think it's the right thing for me. The way I'm feeling right now is honestly really good. And I'm excited that I'm already going to start getting back into training again this week and work on some things that I've really wanted to work on myself. And I know that it's going to put me in an amazing position leading into the next season. So I stick with my decision.
Matty, your 60-second response.
I could fully get behind Christian Pulisic and him pulling out. I do thoroughly agree that it's better for the team in the long run that he protects his body. I just hate parents getting involved, whether it's Gio Reyna's mum and dad getting involved, whether it's Halliburton's dad getting involved in the NBA finals. They've got absolutely zero place in this. Sit down, shut up, keep quiet, stop living your life vicariously through your kids. My quick opinion.
All right. I'm sorry I didn't give you more than 60 seconds. You did it in 30, which is rather commendable as we throw up some comments from those who are viewing. And we really appreciate when you join us 45 minutes before kickoff every game. And you see the starting lineup below. Tanasievich, who replaced Tavon Gray at halftime of that Nashville game, is starting ahead of Tavon Gray. Monsef Bakrar in front of Alonso Martinez, only because Alonso is still with Costa Rica. And there's hugs from Costa Rica. Thank you, Jonathan Quiros Murcia, if I have that pronounced correctly. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. And when are we on? 7:15.
7:15.
That's our pregame show where we feature Pascal Janssen.
And there is a game today as well.
And then there's a game, New York City against Atlanta. Thursday night football, a standalone match in Major League Soccer. So everybody should be listening to us, we hope. Anyway, however you enjoy the game, have fun with it. Thanks for being with us, and we'll talk to you later.